Classic and Modern Motorsport Club South returned to action at Mallory Park for its next round of the 2024 season, and the two sets of cars were split into two grids, the Intermarques on Saturdays and the Saloons and TinTops on the Sunday. In the Intermarques, it would be Paul Knight taking pole position in his Vauxhall Tigra. He was ahead of Colin Smith in the Ginetta, with Mick Robertson in the VW Corrado finishing in third. Warren Farasmand was in fourth, ahead of John Price and Sean Pooley, with Phil Spinks in his Vauxhall Tigra, the seventh and final qualifier for the CMMCS Hoosier Tyres Intermarque Silhouettes at Mallory Park. Sadly, we would have a non-starter for the first race of the weekend for the Classic and Modern Motorsport Club South. Be Phil Spinks with an engine failure before this first race, meaning unfortunately he would be a non-starter. An interesting first race saw the eventual winners being separated by less than a second despite the smaller than normal grid. It'd be Knight taking the lead into the first corner, but Smith slipped by on lap number 2. The battle just kept getting more interesting as the third car came into the mix, with Warren Farasmand in his Peugeot 206 quickly closing in to join the two at the front and make it a trio for the race victory. And on lap number 3 we'd see an overtake for the lead once more, as Knight would retake the position for the lead of the race, and he would hold it until lap number 10 when Colin retook the lead in an exciting battle for the overall victory of this first race at Mallory Park. Their battle allowed Farasmand to keep in the mix and make it a three-way contest throughout, and it was Knight back at the top by lap number 11. Smith had his mirrors full of the Peugeot as Warren tried his attack to try and get onto the top step of the podium, eventually moving into second place himself on lap number 18. Warren's incredible pace towards the end of the race saw him close down Paul Knight at the top of the field to go into the last lap of the race just 1 second away. Unfortunately for Warren, the checkered flag fell just one lap later, meaning he wasn't able to clinch a victory in the Classic and Modern Motorsport Club South, but just 7 tenths away from Paul Knight at the top of the field. Paul Knight taking a fantastic victory for himself and his Vauxhall Tigra. As I said, 7 tenths ahead of Warren in second, with Colin Smith only 1.7 seconds back. A really exciting battle. Unfortunately, there was the small entry, but 3 cars separated by just a second and a half shows you only need a couple of cars for an exciting motor race. In fourth place overall and third within the seniors would be Mick Robertson in his Volkswagen Corrado, and John Price, fourth position in the Intermarque seniors, fifth place overall in his Tigra. Nice to see a good result for him at Mallory Park. Unfortunately, we did have a non-classified driver. After 15 laps, Sean Pooley would have to come into the pits as a DNF. He would have a best lap time of 52.01, so slight issues with his Volkswagen Corrado, and as we mentioned, a retirement or even a non-start for Phil Spinks in his Vauxhall Tigra. Colin Smith's fastest lap in his Ginetta was a 49.091, with Warren Farasmand's pace towards the end of the race better than Colin with a 49.2, but unfortunately not quite enough for the overall victory and not enough for the overall fastest lap either. And into race number 2, we'd see the first 4 finishes reversed for the second race of the day. This would mean that Robertson was on pole with Smith just alongside, and Colin didn't hang about and was into the lead right away, with Knight following him through into second position. Warren took a little longer to pass Mick, but then stormed past Paul as well. Again, the leading trio embarked on another entertaining battle for the victory once more at Mallory Park. And on lap number 6, unfortunately, we would see a retirement from this race. We'd see John Price unfortunately retiring with an engine failure, unfortunately only setting a lap time of 50.5, looking to improve on his pace from the first race, but unfortunately not able to take the checkered flag. All eyes were on the leaders as Knight got past Warren Farasmand on lap number 9 and closed in on Colin at the top of the field. And as the final laps approached, we had a really entertaining battle for the lead of the race. All drivers power sliding out of Shaw's hairpin as they tried to take the checkered flag first. Eventually it would be Colin Smith taking the checkered flag, redemption from the first race which saw him down in third. This time Smith on the top step of the podium with a best lap of a 49.2. Great to see Colin on the top step of the podium once more, with Paul Knight in second position in his Vauxhall Tigra 1 second back. And unfortunately for Warren Farah's, his pace started to ease off towards the end of the race. He was still on the lead lap, just 9 seconds back, but unfortunately his best lap not as good as in the first race of the day. We'd see Colin Smith on the top step with Paul Nice in second, Warren Farah's in third, and there was Mick Robertson in fourth ahead of Sean Pooley in fifth. Unfortunately, the non-classified driver John Price and the non-starter of Phil Spinks. Paul Knight taking the fastest lap of the race and the weekend with a 48.92. Great stuff from Paul, even though despite missing out on the win, a good honour for him to take there. Heading into the next round, which will be at the American Speed Fest at Brands Hatch, one of the biggest events of the season. Also, we've got to say a special mention this whole weekend to Warren, who had raced this whole event with cracked ribs, and really impressive to see the performance he put in despite the difficulties he was suffering throughout the day. So as I said, be sure to join us at the next event, the American Speed Fest. We'll see you there for a very exciting event with big grids.